Let's have a look what Lee is doing. Hey Lee, are we good to shoot for our next content?
Yeah, sort of.
What are you working on?
I'm working on trying to revolve a deal.
Yeah? What's interesting about that deal?
Well, look, this is a tragedy. Like most of the people, it's kind of weird if you shoot this. That's for people who didn't know. Like we're trying to shoot more content nowadays. It's kind of weird that someone put a camera at you all the time. But anyway, what I'm looking at is a transaction in Victoria.
Yeah.
So I got sent a deal. It's about 33 townhouses. People already got a permit. In there, the vendor wants 8.5 million for it. They said, if you give me 8.5, I can give you as much time as you want, which is really promising, right? It's in an area that's literally abuts Ivanhoe, which is really, really good. So it's a premium, but it's not so expensive, which is I like about this area. So 33 keys, 8.5, it's about what, 250-ish per site acquisition per lot, which is not bad when considering average resale in the area for 3-4 bedrooms around 850, 900-ish, depends how big it is. So which is good. But here is the irony. Most of the deals that I've been assessing doesn't work. It doesn't stack up. And have a guess, this site. I just did some research, all right? So this site is pretty good, like 6,000 whatever, okay? The owner bought this 2015 at 6.52 million, okay? And they spent money on the site, and now it was what, 2019, 4 years. And to get 33 keys on it, I reckon they will be spent probably about what, $400,000, $500,000 just to get a permit or DA, depends on where you are now. And they want to flip as an 8.5, which just seems irrational, right? But have a guess how much the site is really worth. Have any ideas? Like assuming they pay 6.5 and it's 4 years down the track.
Maybe 7.5?
You are quite brave. It's actually worth 6 million. So hold on a minute, right? You've bought the site in 2015, 4 years. You spend money getting a permit for 33 townhouses. How the fuck the site is dropping value?
Yeah.
By $500,000. So anyway, so that's what I'm trying to figure it out. And all right, actually, this could be a good content today. It's to tell one of the misconceptions about how not all permit makes money. And I've seen this a lot, like especially with budding developers, like probably 8 out of 10 times the permit you get is diminish the value of your property. All right, so it's kind of like if you bought a site, as a residential property, it could be a land, it could be a house, whenever, assume it's worth 1 million. Countless times when I see people putting a permit or development approval in place to get 45 townhouses whenever, and the residual value once you get the permit in place, the site probably will be worth 850 or 750. So how does it happen? Let me just do a little bit of drawing on a whiteboard. So how does that happen in terms of the site is dropping down in value? It's something to do with the way the valuation works, okay? So let's say traditionally speaking, if you buy a property with no permit, a valuer will be using a comparable sort of ways to value the property, okay? But if you get a permit in place, the valuations start change, and there's the way the commercial value this side of things is based on something called the residual land value. Residual in the sense that the how much the property is worth is probably the derivative of the profit that you're probably going to yield out of this deal. In other words, in very simple term, if let's say one of the most important things you can understand, or a metrics in property development, we call this thing called profit, right? On cost. Okay? So let's say if you buy a site at a million, and then you can sell all of these townhouses, houses, apartments at whenever else, and then here's a construction cost whatsoever, and there's a profit, right? And a profit divided by your total costs is really a profit on costs. Now, the valuer sometimes would assess the deal based on 20%. So if on your FISA, if your profit on costs is above 20%, okay, let's say if your purchase price of the land is 6 mil, and that gives you 25% profit on costs, that means the valuer will still be using 20% as a benchmark to reverse engineer into your land price. That means that's when you get a permit, the value of the land has increased, means soft equity. What happens if your profit and cost is only 15%? The magic number drop below 6 million, isn't it? And what happens if it's 10%, 8%?
That makes
Now,
sense.
understand this thing. Let's look at what this deal is about, right? So we've got 33 keys in there, all right? Our basing work off at 20%. It's a very simple FISO we've used. We're based on 20% of it. Now, one of the biggest error most of the developer problem mistakes they made is when they're assessing a large deal in this, the bulk of the civil works will be incurred as earthwork, means soil removal, additional professional fees in terms of traffic controls, and so on and so forth. Right. That is not cheap, right? So it means if I'm running 5 townhouses, the civil cost could be cost me per dwelling anywhere between 10,000 to 25,000. This type of development, same build costs, and I sell each townhouse the same, right? As if it's a block of 5. But because of its sheer volume of townhouses, the civil works is actually increased because of bulk of earthwork, soil removal, additional workload, and drainage, and so on and so forth. And it works out about $55,000 per block per civil. So there's a price increase. And secondly, the architects are pretty good. They are pretty high-end architect whatsoever. But have a look at this type of product. So it's a 3-level. So 3-level in the area is not going to sell much. It's about, I think, about 750. Okay, and have a look at these little details in terms of brick. So the bricks extend all the way up to 3rd level. Means that your bricklayer need more scaffolding to lay the bricks. That's incur additional labors and so on and so forth. And then other things such as it got various different floor plan. Have a look at this, right? That's cantilever. That means additional steel beams, additional claddings, and this is for schedule. It says black metal. It means a steel metal wrap around the window. It looks good, but it doesn't really help in terms of costing. And when you're selling off the plan, because I said 3 levels, it is not particularly suitable to the local demographic. Means that not too many people are going to pay a premium because of that. You got brick all the way to the top, or you got a cantilever, so on and so forth. Correct. As a result of it, the gross realization and sell price of each unit doesn't change, but as a result of the volume of the development, the civil cost has significantly increased and the build cost has significantly increased. In this area, I reckon I should be building around this for 1,600 a square meter. Right? The build rates on this is about 1,800 square meter plus GST. Wrapping around, if it's including GST, it's almost to 1,980. And the result of that is it just significantly below the cost away, right? Below the cost. And the residual land value is became 6.0, which is $500,000 less than what owner paid 4 years ago. And the land price they are asking for is 8.5. So look, I can't make the permit work, and my advice to the owner actually this morning is to ditch the permit and doing a new one, because you need those properties to completely redesigned. And guess what? Land doesn't change. If you change the design, drive down the costs, the residual land value will increase. This is how you get project funded. So don't make this, I would say, basic mistakes again, because there's a lot of people who think they know development, make the same mistakes, irrespective of the small or big developers. We've been fortunate enough to be engaged, consult a lot of large development groups, and I can tell you that their internal development have no clue about what they're talking about. So it's quite scientific formula when it comes to development, right? So anyway, that's wrap up my content today. Hopefully I didn't really confuse you, right? And as always, if you really like to receive more of this type of content, to really look into what property developer investors' daily life gonna look like, right? How I assess the deal, what are the nuances and the intricacies when I look at acquiring a site, constructing a project, maybe getting a financing in place, whatsoever. We've actually created a little Facebook group, right? What you can do is you can type the domain, I think it's priyafb.com, right? I will put the link inside this post, or someone, if you can help me to type the domain name in the comments, that will be really, really helpful. It's Priya, PRERFB.com. All right, so hope you enjoyed this content, and we will try our best to give you more of these useful tips over the next weeks and months. All right, I'm looking forward to talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you, Lei.